Hi, in today's video, I want to break down a case study of a client of mine who've used AI completely to generate over 3.5 million from Facebook advertising. And I'm going to break down the entire process, show you the thinking behind it, what made the campaign successful, what are some things you could leverage AI and automations for in 2025 and 2026, and some of the common pitfalls that I see advertisers do, some of the changes we needed to apply after Andromeda, and I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes we've done, some of the things we would have done differently if we were starting from scratch. And with a big caveat, this by no means that if you follow the steps, you'll be able to make the amount of money that we show in this video. There's a few caveats as far as the industry that this client is in. There's a massive headwind currently in the market. The economy is tanking, and this favorably serves these clients' products, which in turn helps to generate a lot more money than you would have in other circumstances. Now, without further ado, let's jump behind my screen and I'll show you the system. So as you can see, here we have our ad account. We're running meta ad forms, and I know everybody's saying that the quality of those is poor, but they've been generating a great success for us because we have a very dialed in team with this client. They have a call center set up with 23 sales rep and 5 appointment setters, and they're on the phones every single day, every single minute, following up every lead. So that in turn helps to turn lower quality leads into booked appointments and into clients. The other thing I should mention is that this client is selling a high ticket service offering. It is within the legal and financial space, and the average ticket value is $145,000. So you can do the math on 3.5 million. The number of clients is double digit. We're not talking about hundreds of clients. So it is high touch and very sales-driven approach, meaning that the average conversation with a sales rep is anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, okay? And also, I should mention that there's almost no upfront costs for the end consumer, given that it's a renegotiation offer, it's a legal offer. So that really helps also with the conversions we're getting. So as you can see here on the screen, we've spent a little over $32,000, which generated 970 leads, and they've been able to generate off of that 3.5 million to date. Now, this is revenue, this is not profit, but it's still impressive. And I'm going to share with you the lessons and the things we've done right, some of the things we've done wrong, some of the things I wish I've changed. And again, this is purely in United States, which is the most competitive market out there in terms of any service you could offer. But the average cost per lead for that industry is approximately $200. So we've done some things right if we're at $33.51. So the first thing we've done to make sure that this is possible is that we had a lot of data. That client had documented extensive amount of research on the industry with stats, with information that is proprietary, meaning limited and hidden behind a paywall. This is a very good operator. This particular client has multiple 8-figure brands and businesses within similar verticals. So they're very well established. They had a lot of data. They had even a mathematician analyzing their data and giving us key insights, which in turn helped us with crafting the right message from the get-go. We didn't have to spend too much time researching the pain points and figuring out who the ideal target audience would be for what we need. So that really helped. Also, they had a decent budget to start with. They had over $100,000 that they wanted to deploy to test social, as they already had another successful channel that they were working. And they also had a very strong sales team. Like I mentioned, they had a team that was role-playing daily. They were very, very, very skilled. And they had experience selling similar products at a high volume, at high pace. And they just took that to heart, took the social leads, which usually are a little bit higher intent, given that people are actively looking for a solution versus the outbound dialing that they were doing previously. And that in turn helped them close a lot of the leads we brought in. And if your business is not at the scale where you could deploy capital, where you have information and you're starting from scratch, this video would probably not be of a lot of value. as a lot of the strategies we're talking over are high level. So the first 5 systems that we needed to set up for that particular business were all AI powered, meaning that they gave us a full autonomy, and I was literally the sole person with one more person that's more on the tech side with a developer. So it was literally me as a marketer and another developer, and more so business builder and data analysis, who set up the whole thing up from scratch. So we had the budget, and we had AI, and we had the tools, and we were kind of given the freedom to do whatever we wanted. So we started with competitive intelligence, and we spent quite a bit of time just to make sure we dial everything in before we ever go into scripting, before we ever open up the ads manager, and before ever launching. And this is really, really important, especially with Andromeda update, because what happens post it is that you got to understand the target audience. What is the current trend on the market? What are people talking about? What are the current objectives, struggles, news? And the more up to date you're with your market, the easier you can craft compelling messaging with your advertising that in turn is going to help you reduce your cost per lead, get more business off of it, and also speak the language of the target avatar and target as many pain points as possible. Now, previously, we would simply run an ad with direct offer and maybe do 1 or 2 variations of it. Nowadays, with how the social media ad landscape is, you got to have diversity. You got to have 40, 50 ads, all targeting different pain points, all targeting different hooks, angles, desires, different testimonials, different faces. So creative diversity is something super important. And that's why we needed to understand all the reasons why people would buy our product, all the struggles they're experiencing, all their pains, and we would really have to put ourselves in their shoes, because quite frankly, I'm not somebody that could use the product, so I didn't really understand it very well. So that's how we started leveraging AI for competitive intelligence. I'm going to share the tools in a little bit, what we've done exactly. But the second step we did is deep social listening. So we went on channels such as Reddit, Quora, social media, and we used tools such as Perplexity, Cloud Research, and pretty much any AI model now has the capabilities to research the internet, to scout and exactly extract wording, specific formats of phrases that they use, the conversations that they would have in forums on social media. We would scrape competitor common ads, and we would see what people would struggle with. We would go on Trustpilot and other brands to get as many reviews as possible. And again, look for patterns, look for wording, and it really helped us craft our messaging a lot better. Now, the third step is using AI avatars, and not just AI videos, but also AI images to output the creative volume we needed. For this particular brand, we needed to test anywhere between 40 to 60 creatives a month. And as you can see, we have a modest budget. It's nothing outrageous. There's people that are spending $100,000 per day. These are more mass market offers. We're working in a very tiny market that is emerging, that is up and coming. So we can't scale as big, but we needed to hit the market from every angle possible, and we leveraged some AI tools that I'm going to share with you in just a second. And then we had the advanced lead pre-qualification. A lot of people, they just run up their ads and they do broad targeting, which is working very well. You target essentially everybody in the US, and the algorithm's great at finding who exactly you're serving. But what we've done is that in this particular client, product, and service, there's many reasons why somebody could get disqualified. It could be their time in business, it could be their revenue, it could be the amount of loans they've taken. It could be so many things that are affecting the lead quality. So we had a very rigorous process around the lead qualification, and if they don't meet any of the criteria, we would immediately disqualify, so we don't feed our pixel with data that's no longer good. This is a change that we're seeing a lot more after Andromeda. It's always been like that, obviously feeding your pixel with good data, but we added a lot more friction early on, which in turn led to a little bit higher lead costs in the early days of the campaign. And then as we scaled, the cost normalized, and obviously we were putting a lot more qualified people through the pipeline. And then the last app, this particular client was working EST time zone from 9 to 5. But we had a lot of people as we were working nationwide that are in the PST time zone and were signing up for the campaign. So we had an AI voice agent follow up with those after hours, the ones that we couldn't call. And we had a few people on staff and we were doing live call transfers, but it really helped maximize what we were getting. And we were in the process for this particular client to build a fully autonomous AI call center with all the data on the back end, with all the research and scraping essentially the transcript of every single call, feeding it back to AI, getting user sentiment, analyzing that. And that also helped us with the competitive intelligence. And after having hundreds of calls that we transcribed, analyze it via AI and then feed those back as ads and using the exact wording, the exact language, the exact pain points that our clients had. So these are the 5 things that we've done. So I'm going to go deeper into each one. So for phase 1, the competitive intelligence, we've done something. I don't think it's that new and that we're only able to do it since after AI, but it's something that I see a lot of people are not doing. And we did a competitor ad scraping. So we've used tools such as Deno.net or .com. I'm not sure. I'm not affiliated. There's not going to be a link, but you can Google it. And it essentially helps you save folders of ads and organizing them in a bucket. So we did that. And then you can download those ads, transcribe them. And that's exactly what we've done. So literally, we've taken all of our competitor ads, which was about 500 at that time, from 50 plus competitors. As I said, it's a relatively new industry, so it's not as saturated. And there's a massive tailwind and momentum for that industry as the economy is tanking. There's uncertainty, and a lot of people are talking about that the economy is going to tank and collapse. So that's helping the general narrative that this business supports. Also, we've used Apify Scraper and we've taken out all those ads and we had their descriptions, headlines, copy, literally everything fed into AI to look for common patterns, look for how many days were the ads running from, what were the angles they were going after. And we looked for ad longevity signals, and we organized everything into a searchable database that really helped us come up with more hooks and have good examples once we started feeding the AI avatars to create new angles and new looks. The other thing we did is we looked at the industries that this particular client was targeting to actually have AI avatars that resemble the owners. So oftentimes you see somebody targeting the audience of 55 plus or 50 plus, and they're using, female AI influencers that look Gen Z, and they are Gen Z actually, and trying to convey a message and sound authoritative, and they discard AI completely not working. But the reality is that you got to choose your AI avatars appropriately to the target audience you're targeting. We also did it based on industry. So we were targeting 15 different verticals, okay? And for each different verticals, we had a different face, different avatar that would resonate with the largest percentage of the market. Again, we used AI for that particular research, but it really helped us have something so powerful that literally people that would hear the message and they would be so compelled that even on the phone with the sales reps, they're like, I watched this ad by this person. I'm exactly in that same situation. So literally what we did is we fed AI and we created the target persona, but not only does it create a target persona nowadays, you can visualize it. So with tools such as Sora 2 Pro and VO3, you can literally create a fictional copy of a person, digital twin, if you will, and use it as a spokesperson. So that was the first step of us researching and scraping literally everything that exists out there. To be honest, the competitors weren't that great, as I think a lot of it was ran by general media buying agencies that were very high level, very general hooks, very general copy. And this is the opportunity we saw, and that's why we doubled down on that particular channel. And we scaled, but this was the first step. Now, the second step was analyzing what were the hooks and the angles that worked. And then in that particular client, it was negative hooks that were working very well, meaning that it was fear-based, it was scars-based, it was, future-based, but again, negative pacing about what's going to happen in the future if you don't act now. And we used a lot of those into the stuff we've done, and we tested probably over 100 different hooks. We found out 10 that work, and then we scaled those vertically using different AI faces, different AI avatars. And after that, what we've done with the competitor ads, we feed them over into CapCut. We just loaded up a bunch of ads because we can download them from the node. And it was probably 300 video ads and then another 200 image ads. We feed them over to CapCut, and then we use the captions function, which we transcribe it with, and then we feed back those into AI and come up with our unique angle that is different from what exists out there. So that was the first step. Now, the phase 2 was the deep social listening, and I already mentioned that we analyze everything that exists on Reddit, forums, Trustpilot reviews, and literally every channel. What is the exact language people use to describe their pain points? What are the common objections to existing solutions? What are the success stories and what people value most? What is their price sensitivity and budget discussions around things? What were the emotional triggers that resonated deeply? And this not only helped us craft better ads, but it helped us refine the sales script as well. We added a lot more empathy given the situation of the targets and the prospects. It helped us, create materials as part of our funnel in the pre-nurture materials before we ever talk to them on the phone. We send them a lot of case study videos, a lot of videos overcoming the objections that they had, a lot of nurturing materials, and especially the fact that we were targeting older demographic. We were targeting people 50 plus. They love to read, they love advertorials, they love blog posts, they love information. So we made sure that we have a very dense lead nurturing sequence using the exact language our target audience has. And again, you can do all of that using API scrapers. You can do it manually. You can use Perplexity. You can use Claude. We've used all of them, and we create probably 300 pages worth of research with everything that exists on that particular market, as far as words they're using and patterns and things we can take and leverage along the way. And this is something important. Again, I should mention that this client gave us complete autonomy. So they didn't mess with our copy. They didn't mess with the fact that we're using AI. They didn't say, oh, that's not going to work. Change that. Make sure it's on brand. We were completely autonomous, so that allowed us to use the language we use in our ads. So the example here is not the best, but a lot of the people that we were talking are not sophisticated business owners. They're not at, high intellectual capacity. So the words they were using are more casual. And that's why we needed to adapt the AI avatars, to adapt the copy, to use the exact same language. And also, given that we were working in 12 different industries, targeting professionals from those, we needed to make sure that we speak the language of every industry so it looks more relatable. And same goes for the AI avatars. If we're targeting, the home service industry, we would have an AI avatar that would resemble those, and the language, the words, the mannerisms, if you will, were all matching that target audience. So that was something that was important. Now, when it came to phase 3, the AI ad creation, at this point, it was very simple given the extensive research we've done for almost a week. It really helped us start off a strong foot without us worrying about what we should do and come up with things from our ass. We really had everything we needed to do at this point, that we just fed it back into AI, and it spit out copy that was better than I could ever write it. And for the actual mass production of the content, we use a lot of tools. I'm always joking that my most expensive bill now internally is my AI bill, but when you're pushing the edge for creativity, you just need to invest in those tools. So we use Nano Banana, we use Kapwing for the videos, speeding them up. We noticed that audience, just attention-wise, we need more fast-paced talking, not necessarily fast-paced cuts on the videos. We use CapCut, we use captions, we use VO3, we use Sora 2 Pro, we use Canva, we use Poppy AI, Manos AI, Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT. And then we had video editors, external ones that were helping with some of the edits to make the AI avatars look a little bit more natural. We heavily relied on HeyGen given the unlimited production, especially in the early days. It's a very cost-effective way to test the AI avatar. So we found a couple of formats that work. One is having the little AI avatar down in the screen, and then having a B-roll and a green screen on the back of it, showcasing industry stats and information. That really worked very well. And we use selfie moving style AI avatars. Those trip you because you're focused on the movement and there's pattern interrupt and zooms and ins and outs and the captions keep your attention. So that allows for you again to get away with using AI avatars. Then for a lot of the hooks and creative angles that we wanted to test that are industry specific, we use Sora 2 Pro. This is a little bit more expensive and requires a lot of details on how to prompt and how to design the videos and how to come up with the unique angles. We spend quite a bit of money just testing out a bunch of prompts to make sure that we're able to prompt realistic Sora 2 Pro videos. And we're at the point where we're pretty good at it. Again, I suggest starting with something as HeyGen or Arcade's AIs. They work great out of the box. But if you want the highest possible quality, definitely Sora 2 Pro is the way to go. Now, VO3 is more for like B-roll and unique angles that are pattern interrupt. Again, they have very visual, strong, stimulating hooks because you can design anything essentially that's in your mind. So that's what we did. And then Manos AI we use for research is probably one of the best tools out there because it's on token based, meaning that you can feed it as much information as possible and it will only output the information that you want and need versus ChatGPT and Claude. They're more on optimizing to give you an answer that you're happy with without using as much bandwidth. So that's why we've been using a lot Manos AI. Poppy is another tool that we've been using a lot and feeding all of that data into a board and making sure we have access to it. And yeah, this is as far as the content creation. Now again, Nano Banana, what we did with it, and Gemini in general has that capability where you can take essentially competitor ads and extract the prompt. So we would just feed the ads back into Nano Banana, ask what the prompt is. It would tell us the prompt and we would modify it to make sure it matches what we want to have as an ad. But we use Nano Banana with slight modifications from Canva to create all of our image ads. We didn't have a graphic designer. We didn't have somebody on staff helping with that. It was literally me doing the majority of the creative work. So I'm pretty impressed as generally speaking. I'm not very, graphic oriented, but again, the ads need to work. And for that particular industry, they did. Now, our monthly content production cycle looked as following. So every start of the month, we will do competitive analysis and deep audience research to stay on the pulse of what's going on and what are the discussions. So generally speaking, a lot of our consumers, upon stumbling upon our brand, they would go on Reddit, they would go on Quora, they would research different forums. So we wanted to make sure that we follow that narrative and it's part of our sales process, not only the ads, but also on the back end in the call center. Now, step number 2 is always the script writing and the audience language, avatar modification. Now, it wasn't changing week over week every single week, but again, we made sure that any new angle, any new trending topic that we see is something that we're jumping on immediately. And then week 3 usually meant video production across all the tools. So we always have 60 unique creatives ready to launch and test at any given time. And we would also have our proven winners. And if in the meantime there were news, updates, something that was super, super relevant for the industry, we would ad hoc come in and create those on the fly without, following the production cycle. And then week 4, we would normally analyze what are the 4 winners and scale those. Now here I have scaled to 10K ad spend, but as you saw in the early message, we broke the back end of the business, so we couldn't scale as far as we wanted to because there's obviously the fulfillment of the service. It's an expensive service. It's a program that takes a little while to kick in. So we have about 2 to 3 months of fulfillment. But again, this is the exact process I would use if I'm scaling another similar brand, and this is how we would scale. Now, the advanced lead pre-qualification, as I said, we had 5-step pre-qualification system directly on the lead form on Facebook. And these are not the exact questions we have, as if I reveal the questions, I will reveal the industry. So it's something that I don't exactly want to do, given that I have an NDA with that particular client and I can't share any public information about it. But essentially, we had what are their current needs, what they've tried in the past, how many of our competitors did they work with, what is their situation, what's their implementation timeline, and also we had questions that are very specific to the industry. So if only a person that would need our service essentially would answer those questions. And if they don't answer those questions, means that they're not in need for what we have. So this really led to us having ultra high lead quality, even with lead forms, because the questions were written in a way that if you don't need that product or service, you wouldn't even understand what the question is. Like when I started working in that vertical, I had absolutely no idea what the lingo meant. And only with the research, I understood the patterns, what people use as wording, the things that they're struggling with on a daily basis. So that was very interesting, but we had 5 or 6 questions in the forum. We've played with it. And then all the disqualifications, again, we send them elsewhere. We didn't collect those leads to clog up our pipeline, so that really helped. And the 5th phase, and it's something that I specialize in, and this is what we have with our platform. And this is how originally this client came to me, actually. They didn't know that we're very specialized in media buying at high scale, and we run our own lead gen company, but they saw the AI voice and chat agents, and that's exactly what they wanted for their business. And this is how we originally established the relationship until they figured out, oh, these guys maybe can help me with the lead gen stuff. And this was the pilot brand we did it for, but we built them AI voice and chat agent that every single time the call center was off, as they were working 9 to 5 EST, Monday through Friday, we had an AI agent that would take every lead submission, so every firm submission. They would do auto research on every single lead, as we were mostly targeting business owners for that vertical. It would do research gathering, company data, LinkedIn activity, and essentially everything, format it in the CRM. So whenever the call center team's back online, they can look at that data and again, reach out to the user. But we also had the AI reach out to verify the data that they've just submitted on the form. So the AI agents would call them immediately following a script very similar to the call center agents, and would ask them to verify the data on the form, and they would do a live call transfer if we had a senior at that time. And if we didn't, what we did is we had the agent book an appointment. So we had 2 agents depending on the time we were calling. So we had one agent doing the live call transfers. If we had somebody on staff and it was weekends, we just had the another AI agent just book appointment directly. And it really helped us. We were calling the leads 5 minutes in, and normally how the meta ads work nowadays is that if you get interested in a product or service and you subscribe for an ad, you opt in for an ad, you start getting served tons of other ads from competitors. So by us installing the AI voice and chat agents, we wanted to make sure that we're the first ones to speak to the potential clients. We were the first ones to send them information. We were the first ones to nurture them. We were the first ones to answer their questions. And by that, we became the most logical and viable option for them to work with. And this is not really the complete tool stack. I've already mentioned a lot of the tools, but for competitive intelligence, we use the Facebook ads library. There are a couple more tools that we used. Spy tools. You can just Google any spy tool and they will give you access to that. So you can look for TikTok, YouTube ads, Facebook, Instagram. We use the Node to save those ads. We use AdSpy for ad monitoring. Then we use CapCut and MacWhisper for transcription. And we use Perplexity for social listening, BuzzSumo, Reddit monitoring tools. For the AI content creation, we used HeyGen, RCats for the UGC, Sora for complex videos, VO3 for variations, and then ChatGPT and Claude for scripts. For the lead management, they use Salesforce for the majority of their lead gen. And then for the social ads, we use GHL. And then WellGrow for the AI voice calling. A lot of the custom AI scoring and information scraping about the leads, we use make.com for. And then for the lead scoring and figuring out how to match the best possible leads with the closers, we had a lot of data, existing internal data that helped us figure out the industries, the revenue ranges, the time in business, that really helped us match those to the best closers. And then for analytics, we were just looking at simple data, which was the Facebook Ads Manager, custom attribution, and performance dashboard. And we're at the point where we're building a more robust AI-powered call center. And on the back of it, we'll have the speed to lead, transcriptions real time, being able to talk to the data in real time through an MCP server. So I know this video was a little bit high level, but just wanted to share with you some of the learning lessons we've had with that particular client. Hope you found it valuable. And if you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I share mostly how we leverage AI in modern day businesses. And we help 7 and 8 figure companies do exactly that. So if you happen to fall within that category, make sure you click the link in the description and we'll get on a call and see if we can help. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious how we actually set up a lot of the things we do, I have another video here where I show you step by step on how we set up some of those ads, how you can do the same yourself. And I'll see you in the next video.